Okay, y'all, here we go. KJ Studios. Special guest, very special guest. I call him Big Ben, mixologist, veteran, VA expert in transition. And according to me, the life raft that the USS Chief James, when it was sinking, kept me afloat because the transition is not easy. But there's so much to this guy, and I'm just so grateful for you joining us, Ben. So, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Oh man. So I kind of introduced you, but you absolutely should tell the audience everything about you, what they need to know about you.
Well, like he says, Ben, I do a mixology thing right now on Facebook. It's just my own little thing that I'm doing called the Black Pearl Bartender. And that also is from my writing. I'm a poet. So I write poetry, and so I go by the poet name of Black Pearl Poet. Black Pearl is for all the women in my life, starting with my mom, my sisters, a lot of my Air Force sisters who have helped raise me. You don't have to be African American. You can be of any culture. As long as you're somebody that is good at heart, that has helped me, you can be a Black Pearl in my life. And the Black Pearl is a rare and precious jewel. So that's
wow.
where I look at it that way. I'm originally from LA. Retired Air Force. Now I do work for the VA, helping members transition out of the military into civilian life with their VA benefits. One of the biggest things and I can do for my fellow veterans is help them file their claims with the VA. I do it free of charge. Don't charge a thing, again, because I work directly for the VA. So helping you put that claim together, helping you get it submitted into the VA system, and helping you get in your rating is what I love to do. Just enjoying life. Continue being I retired as a personnel, so I'm just
my gosh,
enjoy helping my people.
I love it, and you were absolutely helpful for me. So that it's funny when we were introduced, it was via Chuck,
Yep,
right?
Chuck.
My Leadership Las Vegas brother and stuff like that, and it was really awesome because you never think when you're going to cross that finish line the anxieties you're going to have. Then you add COVID to it, and the delays, or everything's going automated.
COVID has brought a total new number of anxiety. I know how it was for me. So I retired on January 2013. And you're wondering, okay, I know what my retired pay is going to bring in. I can pay my mortgage. I can pay these bills. I can pay this bill. But we still got to eat. We still got to do these other things.
Right.
For me, my wife was a civilian. She wasn't working at that time. So it was, okay, how am I going to do all this? So you got that anxiety. But like you say, now with COVID, since I've been doing this job, I've known members who moved here with jobs before COVID, and then when they got here, COVID hit, and they lost the job.
Oh gosh.
So just like you were talking about, Chuck had put me in contact with another guy who had the same thing. Him and his family moved out here. The house that they were supposed to be getting, everything, because the guy wasn't able to move out, everything was falling through. And so he needed help with his claim, and he had some questions. And again, that's what we're about, is making those connections so you can try to help the next person. And that's why I always tell my people that are in and those that are getting out is pass this information on to the people behind you.
Okay.
Because just like we did in the military, again, I got you for this amount of time, but if we deploy, I may not come back. That means you may have to step up and take my job. So if I don't put you in that position to do the job, or at least know all the information and where you can go and get the information, I failed.
Right. And there's a lot of information.
There's so much information, I don't even know it all. Like I tell people, the VA constantly changes, and everything is constantly changing. When there's a gentleman that also does the claims on base who's a retired Army guy. He's been doing the claims for over 15 years. When he did his original claim, when he got out, it took over a year for him to get his decision. I did my claim. I retired. It said 1 January 2013, and I had a Air Force brother who retired in November of 2012. Well, he got his decision in May of 13. It took me 11 months, and until November of 13 did I get my decision. The good thing is the VA back pays.
Yeah.
So I got the back pay, which was great and everything else like that. But for those 11 months, I'm like, okay, am I a service-connected veteran? Am I not a service-connected veteran? again, like I told you, I did personnel. So I don't have all the injuries that like the flight line guys do and things like that. And didn't know where I was going to be at. So when I got my decision, I happened to be working overseas. I was working in Afghanistan. I was just happy with the number. I was like, oh, cool. Didn't know how to read the letter.
Right.
My VSO was not as helpful as I try to be to everybody. And what I mean by that is, I always tell people my line is always open. You can always ask me a question. You can email me. I'll get back with you. I'll let you know what's going on. I'm willing to, once you get your letter, hey, give me a contact.
Right.
If you want to go through that letter, I'll teach you how to read the letter. Stuff I wasn't taught.
Yeah.
So when like I said, 1 January 2013 retirement, moved out back to Vegas in March of 14, and I got a job as a supervisor with the Nevada Department of Veteran Services in July of 14. So now this is my first time doing claims, helping claims, and I'm the supervisor in the office. But I had a great team. A couple of it was 2 Navy veterans who trained me on how to do these claims. Marie and Brandy out there, they sat me down. They taught me everything. They was teaching me from beginning to end, and everything. So I want to pass that on to everybody else.
Right.
This is, like I said, the stuff I know now. If I knew when I was wore the uniform, I don't know how many more of my people I could have helped.
Right.
Especially those young troops that decide the military isn't for them and they're going to get out. And my question to them was always, what you gonna do when you get out?
Most of us don't know, we think we know. And I think we take for granted how quick that date comes. What is so when we initially met, like I did the program you said, hey, is it BDD or?
BDD claim. You did the BDD claim process,
okay.
Which is benefits delivery or discharge claim, meaning that you have between 180 and 90 days before your date of separation or your date of retirement, not your final out processing date from the base. Right. Your date of separation or your date of retirement, 90 to 180 days before that, you can file your claim with the VA. It gives you a high priority claim in the VA system, meaning that the VA is going to try to do everything for you so that you can get a decision within the first 30 days after you get out. Now, right now with COVID and the requirements of getting your exams done, some of that could be pushed back a little bit, as you know personally. Normally, when you file your claim with the VA, like I said, you want to have all your records. You want to have all the forms completed and all that submitted into the system. When you submit it all, if you have all that in there, it's going to be considered a BDD claim as long as you meet the 180 to 90 day requirement.
Okay.
At the time that you submit your claim, before COVID, we wanted you to be available for the next 45 days. So I used to always have to tell my people, are you getting ready to take any leave? Are you getting ready to go see mom them for the next? Because if you're that, we'll wait until you come back and then we'll file your claim. If you're real close to that 90-day point, I tell you, you may not want to go just now, just because the VA is going to try to schedule you for your exam within the next 45 days. The good thing is COVID. So it has thrown a huge monkey wrench into that window. So it is taking sometimes 30 to 60 days just to get scheduled for your exams. But the good thing is, and I just talked to one of my Air Force sisters about it because they were worried. They was like, Ben, I haven't heard anything. I filed my claim today. I said, look, COVID has stretched out that time frame now. Right. If you don't hear something within 60 days, then contact the VA.
Is that something that the VA, like within the system, we all have our back of the house, like, well, what about this? What about that? So when, let's say you have veterans who move to relocate, then COVID hits, and then now the job they were hired for no longer exists, and they're waiting for those claims to come in. What are the back of the scenes, or if there are conversations of like, how do we accelerate this? Because I know for you, you were like, look, a lot of this stuff you can waive going in, but you may have to do a Zoom interview. Like for me, your help made it easy for me. My appointments were smooth; they were good.
Well, the big thing is, mainly for everybody that's retiring and separating, the exams you're supposed to be face to face.
Got it.
By law. There's nothing. The law states that we have to have face to face exams. COVID hit, and when it initially hit, everybody was, how are we going to do exams? How are we going to do this?
Right.
So a lot of those claims were just put on hold until more information came out, until the doctor's offices opened back up and people were able to get scheduled. So you had a huge backlog, which is what's causing the problem right now.
Got it.
So first off, please be patient. VA hasn't forgotten about you. They go get to you. It's just a huge backlog. So now we go through a third-party companies that we get individuals scheduled for those exams.
Right.
We request your exams. They're going to schedule them. The big thing, like I tell people, is especially now with COVID, realize that company has to contact you. They cannot just schedule you for an exam without talking to you because of COVID. You may be somebody who is on mandatory quarantine at this time. So if you're on quarantine for the next 14 days, I can't schedule you for an appointment in 14 days.
Okay.
So the company is going to call you. They're going to ask you the COVID questions. And if you can make the appointments, they're going to go ahead and schedule your appointments. If you're going through the BDD program, if something really comes up and you cannot make that appointment, if you have a VSO, please go through your VSO. If you have somebody like me, go through somebody like me so they can try to help you get your appointment rescheduled.
Right.
'Cause sometimes that can be a little bit more of a problem. But you can also call the company and let them know, hey, I know I was good when you scheduled the appointment, but yeah, somebody in my office had COVID. We're on 14-day quarantine, and they'll go ahead and reschedule you. Don't get frustrated with the system. The process is different. Please talk to somebody, not a fellow veteran. Fellow veterans have great sources of information. However, some people just get frustrated with the process and they won't give you good information.
Like the barracks lawyers we used to experience.
Yes, that's the biggest way to say the barracks lawyers. Because you're gonna have the barracks lawyers that loved everything. They got the assignment they wanted. They got the job that they wanted. The people in their office are great. They happy. Then you got the one who is at Kirtland that didn't want to be at Kirtland, that wanted to be in Florida, or the one to be up in Michigan, or
with an assignment to Minot.
Correct. And so they go give you their feelings, not necessarily as we used to say, the AFI.
Right.
Tell me what the AFI says. Don't tell me what you say.
Right. And then you have the message, the computer generated message that says, Chief James, your official DD-214 is ready. And then I download and I send to Ben in pure excitement, and it's like on your end, it's got to be like that, right?
Yes.
Right. So the patience and paying attention piece and little disconnects like that don't necessarily help either side. And you are former personnelist, you said,
correct,
right? Let's talk about when you got that DD-214 in mind that was not the official one.
So what happened was Chief sent me his 214. He was happy. He was like, Ben, I got my 214. You said that's the last piece the VA needs to finalize my claim. Here you go. I open it up. I look at it. I look at the top. DD-214 worksheet. I was like, Chief, this is not your official 214. So I emailed, but I was like, I know Chief. Let me call him. So I called Chief and I was like, hey, he's like, no, that when I got the email and it says your 214, this is your 214 official one is available now. I was like, yeah, Chief, not yet, because this is the worksheet. I said, look back on it. So we both looking at it. I said, look at the top. It says worksheet. I said, that's your first indicator. I said, now go down to the bottom. No signature. It's not official. Nobody signed off on it, anything. That's not the official one. So he's not the only one. I've had tons of veterans do that. They send me the DD-214 worksheet, or they will automatically put the DD-214 worksheet in the system. The Air Force does not release the 214 until the first duty day after your date of separation or retirement. Some people I have noticed have been able to get it on that last day. So if your date of retirement is the 31st of December and you go into the system, sometimes you can see it. Sometimes you may have to wait until the 2nd of December because, as we know, the 1st of January is a holiday. So the 2nd of January is when it would be available. Sorry, I did say the 2nd of December. But on the 2nd of January is when you would be able to go in, as long as it's on the duty day, go into the system, pull it up, and pull out your official DD-214 member copy 1 and member copy 4. Member copy 4 is the copy everybody wants to see. If you're applying for government jobs, if you are applying at any job and you tell them you're prior military, retired, separated, they ask for the 214, they want to see member copy 4.
Right.
And it's going to have a signature block. Your signature block in the Air Force may say member unavailable to sign, but it's going to have somebody from AFPC that's going to have their digital signature in the block at the bottom. So that's the official one with that signature, and that's the one that you want to submit into the VA.
Now, how many times? So I know you play a lot of defense, and what's worse is you come from the personnel world. So you're more of a SME than the average person who, let's say, represents the VA who didn't come from the personnel world. So you play a lot of defense on that because you're like, yeah, I get it, but that's not your official one. But then how about the person who is even less detail-oriented than me that didn't make sure the social was right? And
again, as I go through it, if I see stuff, I'll let them know.
Right.
The good thing is, like you say, I am a prior personnelist. And so because if you have vital information that's incorrect,
right,
it's important for you to now do the DD form 149. Or sometimes I'll tell you, contact your base and see if there's something they can put in already with AFPC to get it changed. Most times it's a DD 149 where you're going to have to let them know what's incorrect and change it. If your social is incorrect on your 214, do not scratch it out and rewrite your social on it. Even if it's off by one number or anything like that, that makes it an invalid DD 214.
How does that impact the timing of your claim?
Again, let's say you're looking at the social 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And instead of 9, it should be a 0 at the end. So you cross out the 9 and you put a 0 in. You just invalidated that 214.
Right.
So you send it into the VA. They're going to be like, no, we can't accept this. And so the VA will request a copy from the Air Force. But again, they're going to get the wrong copy that has the 9 at the end, which is not going to match up with your social that the VA has in the system. So again, now you may get the notification, hey, you need to get your 214 corrected. And until then, the VA can't finalize your claim.
Okay.
So it's just getting the correct information, and it's very vital for us to review a lot of stuff. You talk about review, and like you say, prior personnel is just. When I was stationed out here before at Creech,
right,
had a member who was promoted to staff sergeant. He was promoted supplemental promotion.
Okay.
So he was deployed. He came back. He made promotion. He was going to put the stripe on 1 December. Okay. Originally he should have put it on 1 September, but with supplemental, he, can't go back a month. You go put it on the next time. So 1 December, he was supposed to put the stripe on, but he got orders to go to Korea. He decided he didn't want to go to Korea. And so he didn't come talk to me in the orderly room at Creech. He just went down to the MPF here in Ellis and declined his PCS assignment.
Oh, that's the domino started.
But he didn't read the form to notice that, and he did this on the Friday. Like I say, the 1st of December, I think, was on that Saturday.
Okay.
So the 30th was the day he did it, on the 30th of November. So he didn't read it to notice he was also declining promotion.
Right.
So Monday, he showed up. He had his staff sergeant stripe on. We had already done our rosters and knew he should have been promoted and everything like that. Come the 15th of the month, he didn't get paid. And he was like, something's wrong. So when he made the phone call, and everybody was like, nope, yeah, you didn't get promoted to staff. And so he went to the first sergeant. The first sergeant sent a hot email to the MPF. Again, nobody talked to me in the CSS. So when they came to talk to me, I said, well, I don't know exactly what's going on, because again, I didn't know he had declined the PCS. So when I got in touch with promotion, they're like, oh yeah, Ben, he came down, he signed his 965, he declined promotion, He did all this on the 30th. I was like, okay, I need a copy of that. I'm gonna get the reg. I got everything. Had to sit down with him, the chief, our commander, and his supervisor. Gave them all copies of the 965 highlight. I said, is that your signature? He said, yes. I said, notice this block right here that I have highlighted. Read the highlighted portion. I declined promotion. He said, but I've already been promoted. I said, no, you didn't sew it on until 1 December. You signed this on 30 November.
Oh, wow.
You gave up the strike.
And really in the personnel world, I learned as the chief of FSS, it's like a game of inches.
Yes.
When it comes to like the reenlistment bonuses, reenlistments, or you're like, yeah, I declined this, which you don't realize that means you're not going to be able to reenlist, or you're not going to be able to get the retainability to promote. And I was fortunate because I'm a services guy, which forced me to really learn as much personnel as possible, which it changes every freaking day.
Yes.
Right. But you can't micromanage something. And I had a strong personnelist. She's master sergeant now. And she was like, Chief, you gotta really stop messing shit up for us. He's like, and she goes, you're not messing up, but she was like, you have to be careful of the promises that you try to make to take care of people, especially when it impacts promotion and pay.
Yes.
And I started to say, okay, I better start bringing the people down the hallway, especially in career development, and saying, hey, so if so-and-so does this, so-and-so does that, what does that mean? And it's easy to get stovepiped into like, well, I'm just talking this. And you're like, correct. No, but if you mess with this, it impacts this, and this. And
there's certain windows that you got to do it in.
Yeah.
In 24 years, I saw a lot of different things that happen, especially when it comes to the personnel world. You have individuals who've been selected for promotion, right? But we all have to do that data verification, and especially in promotions on the personnel side. And when I was at Edwards, Tech Sergeant made master his last year testing. Well, when we did the data verification, his data wasn't correct.
Yeah.
So we had to take the stripe back. And he got real upset. His wife got real upset.
Of course.
They called me, cursed me out, going off. And I was like, well, sir, okay. I said, how about you both come down to my office? They came down. I sat them down. I said, let's go over your information. All these decorations, are these correct? Yeah. Where's this one? Do you have it at home? Because I'm missing this one. And this one here. Now let's go to your EPRs. See these numbers? This wasn't the correct order. Right. Correct numbers, but just not in the right order. So that changes the multiplication of them and everything. And I said, that's what you have to watch. I say, we all get that sheet before promotion.
Right.
And you got to verify it. You have to look the stuff over. You got to look it over. Even when you get out in the civilian world, you have to look over that stuff. The military it's a lot easier to go ahead and apply for your ID card when you get married and get your wife into TRICARE and all that other stuff. Right. Civilian world, they have windows when you can apply for those medical benefits. And
I just learned that the hard way.
And if you don't do it in that window, guess what? You don't get it for until a whole year from that. And our window just opened up, I want to say here in November. So, if I wanted to change my medical benefits and everything, I can. Yeah. However, if I don't do it this time, guess what? I won't do it again until November of 2021.
So real story. Well, first, before I do that, y'all got to give love to the personnel out there. You give them crap when they close their training, but then you give them crap when something's not right. Give a lot of love to those personnel. Those AFIs change all the time with PSDMs, and there's more personnel 36 years AFIs than there's anything in the Air Force. Give them love. So back to what you were just talking about. I got to throw that out there because I learned that as a services guy, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys deal with a lot of stuff, and I just stayed out of their way. Talking about the open season. So my company's season is a 2-week window that is different than what the Air Force was. So I went through the whole transferring TRICARE from active duty to retire. And I was sitting down talking to my kids, and my son was talking about he hadn't had a dental exam in a while. And I was like, oh crap, did I sign up for dental in my new company? So I went and checked, and the open season had just closed in my company. And I was like, oh, I waived. Only thing I changed in that was I waived medical coverage that I had accepted. I was like, if I have VA, I have TRICARE, I don't need your coverage, and you're taking money out of my check. And I went down to dental. Employee only. I was like, oh my gosh. So my dad's like, well, it's open season. I'm like, no, it just closed. Not knowing that our open season that we're used to had just started. So I went into is it e-benefits or e-ben? I think it's something like that. So I went in and you have to say, are they eligible and stuff like that. And by the grace of God, I was able to enroll my kids and my family into it. I was like, look, no toothaches or any problems for the next 15 days. But that's stuff that I think, I don't want to say it's COVID, because we grow up in the military very checklist driven. We were very used to someone kind of
point us in the right direction.
Put us in the right direction. And I think during this time frame, a lot of us are kind of out there just trying to find our way.
Well, one of the things that changed is, like I said, when I retired, we had dental through TRICARE.
Right.
So when I signed up for my TRICARE, my dental came with it. And then I want to say a couple of years ago, they just removed TRICARE dental. So now the dental plan is through the federal employees dental plans. And that's a mind-blowing thing, because I'm used to just, I just got to pay this. No, now I got to go and look and see which one of these dental plans I want that's going to help my family and everything else like that. So I try my best, again, even though I'm doing the VA stuff, is answering some of those questions. Like I tell them, I'm not that person. This is who you're going to go have to talk to. The TRICARE lady on base at Nellis is very good, very helpful. I think it's Miss Valerie, I think is her first name, but she's very helpful. She's very knowledgeable, and to be able to help people like that. I hate when I hear from people that's somewhere else that's not getting the help that they need. I just talked to one of my other Air Force sisters who she's been out a while, but she went to a company and paid them to help her with her VA claim. Goodness, she got 100%, but she had to pay them, and she ended up giving them $4,500. And if she'd have went through somebody like me,
she could have just given you $2,000.
She could have kept
I'm just messing with you. I'm messing with you.
No. I'm gonna correct that for Chief. You ain't never gonna give me no money. I work for the VA. I cannot accept any payments whatsoever. $5, $2, $2,000, none of that. I don't want any of it. I'm a retiree. I'm a veteran.
I know.
My thing is I want you to have all the benefits that you can have. If I'm at 10% and you get 100%, guess what? I'm gonna celebrate you just like I celebrate. I retired as a master. He retired as a chief. I'm still happy for him. Since I've been doing this, I don't want anybody to have to pay out of their pocket.
Yeah.
For the services that I know people out there are doing it free of charge and are able to help you get to where you want to be. The VA is not the bad people. A lot of them are retirees, veterans, prior service members just like you. The law is the law. You got to have the evidence. If your record doesn't say it, your doctor can't put it in medical terms to prove it.
It didn't happen.
It didn't exist. I mean, that's the easiest. The hard part about it is you have to have that evidence, So making sure that you got that information down in there and you understand what they say. I understand your beliefs. The one thing I always tell my people is this: I'm not medical.
Right.
I can see that you are wincing and you saying you're in a lot of pain, but I don't know how badly that bone is broken or how bad the arthritis is. The doctor is going to say that, but you got to make sure you're talking to them and making sure the information is being put into your records. I've had tons of veterans come to me. They want to file for certain things, but it's just not in their records. Yeah. And that's the hard part. How can I file for the shoulder injury you say you had when you were in the military, when you were flying, either as a crew chief or a pilot, but you never went to flight medicine to get seen for it?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes we make, so like me, I'm very Mr. Alpha male, tough guy, and I spent a majority of my career being like, no, I'm good.
Yep.
Not realizing that when I had tore my rotator cuff, in 1990 something, and I'm like, no, I'll just get through it.
Yep.
It's like, no, go get seen and at least get it in your records. And I'm not saying make stuff up, absolutely not saying that, but there's generations like my dad's generation, the Vietnam generation, were never encouraged to go file VA claims.
And even my generation wasn't. When I first joined, I joined in '88. We weren't encouraged to go to the doctor. You always frowned on those people that was always at the hospital and being seen. But this is the biggest thing I tell people now is, as a supervisor, I would never ever send my people home anymore for being sick. Now that I know the VA process,
send them to the
hospital.
I
would always send them to the hospital to have them go get checked out. If I was going to send a person home at 8:00 in the morning, they go to the doctor and they get seen for their shoulder, their back, the stomach ache, whatever it is. They get seen for it. They get the medicine, but the doctor doesn't put them on quarters that day. And they come back to my office at 11, but they're still not feeling good. I've been operating already with them all morning without them. If I was going to send them home at 8, what's to stop me from sending them home at 11?
Nothing.
I can still let the person go home.
Right.
They can get their rest. But guess what? Now their medical records are updated. This continues to happen throughout their career. They're only in 6 years. Now they're getting ready to get out. And they go to the TAP briefing and they hear somebody like me from the VA talking about filing a claim with the VA for the conditions that happen in the military that's still affecting you today. Now they got that in their records. And I can help them file that claim for GERD, for their backache, for their shoulder, whatever it is, can help them file. Yeah. Then they get that percentage with the VA. And now they have medical coverage. They have a tax-free check that's going to come to them a month. And how does that help? Like I said, I told you guys, I started doing VSO work in 2014. 2015, met a young lady at one of our things who was attending UNLV. She was going to become a lawyer. Her boyfriend was separated from the Air Force. No, I met her in 2016. And he was separated from the Air Force in 2015 in March. I met her in May. He had never filed his claim before. He lost a year's worth of back pay because you have a year from your date of separation to file your claim so you can get back paid all the way to your separation. So me and him met in June, talked about his claim, helped him file his paperwork and everything. Took 6 months. Right. So he got 6 months back pay because his claim date now is June. So he lost all that year and 3 months before that. Got a rating, a nice rating. Now he has some other money that's coming in. He has medical coverage. He called me back and he was like, Mr. Jefferson, thank you. He was like, now I can take my girlfriend out. I can go visit family for the holidays. I don't have to stay. I have that money coming in. He said, I used to be scared to get sick. He said, because I don't know what plan he was on.
Right.
But he knew he didn't have full coverage. But now he had full coverage with the VA. He can go get seen for everything. Plus, he had that little extra cash flow coming in that it helped relieve a lot of the anxiety that we talked about in the beginning. Right. That anxiety of just transferring out. You still have your bills, you still have your payments, right. Car payments, you may have rent, mortgage, whatever it is that you still got to pay. And knowing that you have this amount that's going to be coming in monthly because of issues that you had is going to help relieve some of that. Now, some people may decide, hey, I don't have to go be a supervisor at X company. Instead, I can just go be a worker bee.
I can go to Home Depot.
I don't have to worry about no more of those headaches or anything else like that. And they know how much they can bring in, and they can do it. So it helps to relieve a lot of stress and a lot of issues. Right. Also, just the process itself, if you don't have a good person helping you and you don't understand the process, that's going to bring you some anxiety. But just knowing the end is going to help you.
Yeah.
In the end.
And I think you threw out a big gold nugget there, and I hope they picked up on it because I'm guilty of it. Hey, if you don't feel well, hey, go ahead and go home. Mm-hmm. And the big gold nugget I picked up on was, hey, I want you to go to get seen, which I know I get, maybe Biff, Chief Owen was out there like, don't be sending people to my ER. Right. But I think you're right though. Like, because 20, 22, 24, 25, 26 years later, and you're like, I've had this problem for years. And they're like, well, guess what? It's not in your records. So.
And how many of us at 21, 20 years old thought we could defeat the world?
I'm going to tell you.
You can get over that injury and that illness. And just like you were saying, when you tore your rotator cuff, you didn't think nothing of it. And then years later, you're like, wait a minute, this shoulder still just is not acting right.
Ben, I was immortal until 2003, where my patella tendon ripped off my kneecap, and I've had surgery after surgery after surgery, and I was like, now I'm scared to brush my teeth without hurting my back. It's a weird dichotomy. The reality of as age sets in and the machismo goes away.
It's not the machismo goes away. Your machismo is still there. It's age. As we get older, you ain't the same that you was back in the day. And that's the biggest thing is right now you're young, you can take care of yourself, and that's how you feel. Right. However, you're not always going to be 21.
Okay.
So at some point in time, we go get to be our fathers and get to be their age. And, you want to make sure that you're able to still be able to take care of yourself. So the best thing you can do is to make sure that your records stay updated.
Right.
2, you taking care of yourself. I know a lot of people get worried about, well, this may cause me to go through an MEB. This may cause that. Certain issues are mandatory when it's an MEB issue. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. However, if you are going and making sure that you're taken care of and you're still able to do your job, and you're still able to deploy, the MEB isn't going to be an issue. Don't be scared of something, because the MEB is the way the Air Force can say, hey, you have an injury that is just totally unable to be treated, or at least that's going to get better in order for you to continually function in the United States Air Force. So in this case, we're going to put you through a medical evaluation board where you're going to be given an opportunity to either be medically separated or medically retired. If you get medical retirement, guess what? You're retiree just like me and Chief. You just don't get the retired pay, but you get the retired ID card. Your family is eligible for TRICARE. You can still go use the commissary, the BX, and MWR facilities worldwide. I don't know how many young troops I see eyes open up when I tell them that about MWR facilities, and they go, what do you mean? I said, well, have you ever been to Hawaii? Nope. I said, we have what we call the Haliko Hotel in Hawaii, right there on Waikiki Beach.
Is that Bellows?
No.
Oh,
Bellows is on the other side of the island.
Okay.
That's they still eligible for that. But I tell them about the Haliko Hotel, which is right there in Waikiki, right next to the Hawaiian Hilton. Awesome hotel. Yeah. I said, you're a retiree. You can still book a room there. You can still go stay there. And then just like you said, Bellows. You have Bellows on the other side, which has bungalows right there on the beach. Bellows is a vacation area for military. Yeah. It's not a base anymore, even though it's still Bellows Air Force Base as you go over there. But it's just services that's over there.
Yeah.
And, I can tell people there are facilities like this worldwide, Germany, Italy, everywhere, that you still be able to use MWR facilities. So now when you want to take some of that stress off and the anxiety, you can still go travel and see the world. Just, again, space available. I ain't gonna tell you everything gonna be open for you, because there's still space available. But as long as they got the space, you go get it as an MWR member. You're eligible to go ahead and use those facilities.
Okay.
So a lot of people eyes open up when I tell them that, and I said, don't think of an MEB as a bad thing, because only thing is if your disability is so bad that you can't work. Yeah. At least now you gonna have some kind of income coming in due to that disability. However, and the biggest rumor out there is, if I get rated with the VA at 100%, I can't work. No, yes you can.
Yeah, that is a myth out there.
You can still go work. If you get a rating with the VA at 100%, you can still go work. Okay. The biggest thing is where your disabilities allow you to work.
Got it.
If you got an injury that's so bad that you can't work, then no. Yeah. But if you can still go do something, you may not be able to be a cop, but you may be able to be a computer programmer. You may not be able to be a computer programmer, but you may be able to be a customer service supervisor.
Got it.
Whatever it is that you can do.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw you a curveball, because you got the black pearl mixologist in your background, right? And something that I was always thought, right? It was like, man, Big Ben needs like a commercial sound, right? And it's like, so if we threw like a little bit of this, right? Like, see, so now if I impromptu you, if you're down, now you're gonna have an opportunity to do a little intro to the Black Pearl mixology.
To the Black Pearl bartender.
Right? Because you got the Rick Ross thing going on.
With the
yeah, I like it.
Everybody want to give me the Rick Ross.
I like it, and I'm jealous because you saw I tried.
I want my gray to come in. One of my retired Chief Green used to be here at
Curtis.
Yeah, his is all grayed up. I'm so jealous of his. Every time I see him, I'm like, man, I talk to him, but I be mad at him every time.
Really?
He my boy, but I'm jealous of that gray. I want this right here to be so gray.
If Curtis is watching,
man, I want you gray.
Okay.
I got my other boy back in San Antonio, Al Saunders. He's all grayed up. I want the gray. Everybody like, being all just this way. Man, look, it just lets me know that I'm there.
Okay. So you down to try to do an impromptu intro?
I'm down to try. I'm trying.
Okay. So here we go.
Let's see what we got.
Here's the music.
All right.
After the applause, right?
All right, everybody, just wanted to introduce myself. This is Ben Jefferson, the Black Pearl bartender. I'm available on Friday nights at 8 p.m. here in Las Vegas, where I do my own little mixing of cocktails. Come on and come join me. Hopefully I'll make something that you like.
Oh, okay.
Like I told you, that ain't poetic, but like I say, I do write a little bit of poetry and get it all down from everybody. Is basically like, I'm sitting here with the chief, the big C, the man in charge. I'm sitting here with the chief, the man that knows the history of the Air Force. I'm sitting here with the chief, intelligent and wise. I'm sitting here with the chief. Efficiency is his game. I'm sitting here with the chief, ex-chief of Force Support Squadron. Yo, you have a chief in your life. I have a chief in mine. But mine is Air Force Blue. So what you gonna do?
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. So we're about to hit that 40-minute mark. I absolutely want to give you the floor. If you want people to find you, should they find you? They don't got to be going out and paying no $4,500.
Well, the big thing is they don't necessarily have to find me. You just need to find a VSO in the area. There are what we call veteran service organizations that help vets file their claims free of charge. I don't do a lot of the after the members that have already separated and retired that are looking for increases and everything else like that. I would tell them to sit down with a VSO so they can get the help and make sure that person is there to represent them afterwards. Because again, I work for the VA, so if you're doing a appeal or if you're doing an after claim, I can't represent you against the VA because I am the VA.
Right.
So you want to have a VSO that can help you and make sure that stuff is being filed the right way and everything like that. Because it is a process, and it's nice to have somebody who knows that process and knows how it works. Like I said, I don't advocate for people who have to go and pay somebody. However, if that's what you feel that you want to do, it's your claim. This is the biggest thing I tell people. This is your claim. I'm here to help you. I'm here to advise you. However, it is ultimately your claim. I tell my members getting out now, you can file for Agent Orange exposure, but guess what? Agent Orange hasn't been used since 1976, and all of y'all getting out now weren't exposed. So, but if that's what you put on your claim, the VA go look at it. They go deny it, but they go look at it.
Mm-hmm. So. I think my generation and maybe a little bit of yours is still waiting to see how the burn pit stuff.
Correct. Because a lot of people always come to me with that question. But I was exposed to burn pits, or I was exposed to chemicals because I worked CE or I worked on the flight line.
Right.
And what I tell them is, when you file a VA claim, you file a claim for disabilities that you currently have that happen during your time in the military.
Right.
Exposure is not a disability.
No.
However, the asthma that you develop because of being exposed to the burn pits, if you've been diagnosed with asthma and you're still on active duty, we're going to file for asthma. It ain't going to have nothing to do with the burn pits.
Right.
5 years after you get out and you develop asthma and the asthma doesn't run in your family, and you go, I think I got my asthma because of being exposed to the burn pits. Then you file the claim that way.
Got it.
With the VA, and they would look at it. So the big thing is knowing that you file a claim for disabilities that you currently have, not for exposure to chemicals, because exposure can result in a disability, but as of right now, it hasn't. So if you were CE and you were exposed to asbestos in a building that you tore down, you were exposed to it. Doesn't mean that you have any condition. Now, 10 years after you get out, you go to the doctor and they say you got pleural plaques or you got asbestosis. Then you file the claim due to your exposure to your time in the military and that building that you tore down back at base X. So it's just understanding how the stuff is, how you apply for different things. And a lot of these VSOs out there are there to help you out with that. You can contact me, and I would advise you, tell you what you got to do. If you contact the VSO, they're going to do the same thing. Some people want stuff fast, quick, and now, but that's just not the VA system. Got to be patient, making sure you got the right information. And that's what I did as a VSO. I looked at all the information. I looked at all your evidence, and then we put the package together. And if you let me, or if you let a VSO help you put that package together, you'll be putting together a good package. The good thing is about it is if the VA still doesn't agree with you, a VSO can help you file that appeal and help represent you and fight for you with the VA. I can't, and that's the reason why I help more of the members that are currently getting out with their claims, file their claims with the VA, just because most of those aren't doing any sort of appeals. Some people aren't happy with it and they want to, but I'll point them in that direction. Here's some list of VSOs that you can go to. I know the VA hospital here in Vegas has a list of VSOs. They have VSOs that work right there at the VA hospital that will help vets and everything else like that. So don't think the VA, one of the biggest things you always hear is, the VA is going to deny everything the first time you submit it. Nope. No, they don't. Speaking personally and as a veteran, no, they do not. They will deny what they can't prove in the record.
Man, that's awesome. Well, all right, folks. Big Ben Jefferson, VA mixologist, VSO veteran. I don't know how many more titles that you may have, but I call you a friend and I call you a definite force enabler to helping a lot of people. And you may have heard some of the stuff I've talked about recently about asking for a spot. You are definitely the right spotter when it came to a time that was high anxiety and just wondering if I'm going the right direction. And I'm absolutely grateful for you. And I hope some of you will reach out to a VSO, Ben, someone. Ask for that spot. Everybody take care. Bye.